Guys, today we're going to go and see a Tesla. Actually, two of them. We're going to drive the car. We're also going to drive the SUV. I'm not going to get all the video because I know there's going to be someone in the car driving with us. But I'm going to get as much video as possible. I want to hear what the salesman has to say. I want to hear all the little things about the car that I probably know about already, and a lot of you know about already. But I just want to see the experience and driving it and how it handles and that 0 to 60 and like that. Let's go for a test drive and see what the experience is, and I'll come back here.
Is opening up the hood and pretending to know what you're looking at, and it requires a lot of technical knowledge. So don't even worry about it. That's not how this car is put together. There's less than 150 unique parts that make up the drivetrains that are located in the front and in the back. It's engineered to run for 1 million miles. Forget about oil changes, forget about regular maintenance, forget about shifting of gears, forget about parking brakes. There's none of that stuff. It's all intuitive, and it's all or not all, but a large portion has been made digital. And the reason why we do that is that gives us the ability to enhance and improve over time just through remote software updates. By far the coolest part about the car is every couple weeks, every couple months, you're waking up, and it's like a really, really cool feeling. You basically wake up and your car can do something that it couldn't the night before, including all the way up to full self-driving. Now what's really, really important, the reason why we've been putting 8 cameras, sonar, radar, that's the suite of full self-driving hardware. We've been putting that in our car since October 2016, and it's really, really massively important because basically what's going to happen is people like yourself who you're in the market for a new car now or in the next couple of years, you're going to find yourself in a real pickle, because we know in 2 to 3 years this full self-driving technology will be out, readily available, incorporated into any vehicle. Any non-Tesla vehicle will then also be putting it into their cars, and either you're forced to buy something that doesn't have that, and then you get screwed when you try to resell it a couple of years after just because you're missing that component. So that's not what we do. We wholeheartedly encourage ownership and keep the car as long as you can. Keep the car. What year is this? So this is
it's old.
It's an older one, right?
I don't even know what year is it marked.
2002.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
So that's my philosophy. Keep it as long as I can.
I'm totally with you. I've my Honda is from 2007, and it's still drivable, but I can't get it past 75 miles an hour, and when I slam on it, it sounds like it's in pain, and that hurts me, like genuinely. And it's really cool because that's something you'll never experience here. All of that bleeding edge hardware and technology is all packaged in aerospace grade aluminum, all the paneling, the chassis, and then underneath the entirety of the car, it's triple reinforced with titanium. So from a physical point of view, it's like really, really strong. It's not shoddy materials. And it's really a reflection of what makes Tesla so special. It's not our philosophy, it's not our business strategy to make a product with the most cost-effective components, which is what all the other companies do. They say, we'll set the price low, but it will break down. You'll have problems year after year. No, we build something incredibly solid and continuously improve it. We keep it relevant. Right now, you have access to our network of charging stations for free for the entirety of the time that you keep the car. And that's the idea. It's just much more valuable for us to expand our audience. Our goal isn't to make the highest profit, the highest margin of profit. It's to accelerate the world's transition to sustainability.
If we ever sold the car, then that free Tesla thing goes away. It's well, we own it.
It's when you own it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we own the car for 20 years, it's free for 20
Yeah,
years.
and
It's
and
not like
imagine,
it's gonna
yeah.
change. Okay.
Imagine, like the value at that point. Right now, it's like we're only at the beginning of electric vehicles. If you had to pay, it's pretty inexpensive, but as we consolidate and everybody else becomes electric, it's going to be really, really even bigger value than what it is today. And of course, we still have the $7,500 federal tax credit. That's the two other reasons why I keep saying it would be beneficial to get delivery before the end of March, is because the federal tax credit can go away on a quarterly basis. I know it's here for this quarter through March. I don't know that it's here in its entirety for next quarter. And also the interest rates that they change on a quarterly basis. Right now they're pretty good.
What is it?
For the 75D it's 2.49. For the 100D it's 1.49. For the Model 3, well, it's a longer down the road, but I did see something about 3% financing, or maybe 2.7%.
So this one is 1.4.
So this specific one, this is the 75D. So this is 2.49. If you want the longer range battery, then it's 1.49.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's a more expensive car. In general, you basically see your monthly go up by like $230 at that point. But we'll talk about that when we get back. We have to design a car first. So everything that I've been mentioning so far is like standard. Streaming radio, you have TuneIn if you're listening to podcasts, if you want to listen to radio stations by locality. This is fun to mess around with. Antarctica has a folk station. If you want to get really, really sad, you can listen to that. If you want to feel lonely, we have our navigation. It's a high. You can really customize a lot since you'll be keeping it for such a long time.
So everything you're talking about there is on now. You don't have to turn it on. It's all part of the package.
All part of the package. Internet, that's just a web browser. Eventually we'll incorporate a media player when full self-driving, becomes, is turned on.
Do you have to pay for internet, or is that just
free?
Free.
Yeah, it's all included in the car. Included in the cost of the car. Navigation, media, all included. Suspension, we started adding air suspension into the car, which is really cool. You can literally, you'll feel it.
I saw it go up, yeah.
Yeah, you feel it more in the back, but it's cool. It's going to remember this location. And the idea is like the places that you frequent. Like I know I grew up in Norwalk, Connecticut, and there's like some roads where you kind of want to be higher off the ground. They have potholes. Mm-hmm. All you have to do the first night you bring your Model S home, enter this menu, set it to very high, it goes up. You do that on your road, and then when you drive away, it will go down automatically, and over time it's raising, lowering, and doing everything.
So without having the navigation, without using the navigation, it's using the navigation.
Yeah, because it's pinpointing where you're making it higher, lower, or standard.
Right, so sort of dropping a pin. So that's called geofencing. This is also very nice. If it snows, like it might tonight, we just lift it up. It's about 8 inches off the road. Just drive around like that. Still phenomenal in the snow.
Great.
Different modes of acceleration, steering, regenerative braking. We'll get to that.
This is front wheel?
This is electric all-wheel.
Yeah.
Which is really, really can't be compared to any sort of all-wheel drive on a gas-powered car. It's just way, way, way better. First, all the weight's on the bottom. Second, every thousandth of a second, it's surveying how much grip it has in each individual tire, and is placing power where it needs to be. So if we hit a little bit of sand, within a millisecond, it would have sucked the power away from that tire, sent it to the 3 others until they all sync up, and then doing that every thousandth of a second. Makes us very fuel efficient, makes us really, really quick, all that good stuff. And then finally, auto steer. This is just saying consider it an assistance rather than substitution. This is my personal favorite feature in the car. That is optional. Again, your car comes with all the hardware. You can have it sent to you at any time, but we do have it here. So basically, our control is on the bottom left over here. You turn it on by pulling toward you twice. You go 1, 2. You'll hear a tone. It'll go da da. Goes up like that. You can take your feet off the pedals. It will steer for you, but it does want to know that you're there. So the one requirement, give it a little feedback every once in a while. Very, very small wiggle. Or if you're like me, I just like resting my forearm here, just lightly pulling down on it.
Are you saying that the car will drive itself?
Yeah.
That is, yep.
How does it know where to go?
The cameras will look at the paint in the lane. So the one requirement you know, right now it's officially released for highway traffic. That's what it was designed
Right.
for.
Lanes.
But as long as you have two paint on both sides of you, it will give you the option. Two icons appear up here saying you can turn on your traffic aware cruise control and you can turn on your auto steer. 1, 2, that little control toward you, and it will turn on.
So if
And I'll
you're
show you how
driving
this
down the
works.
road that has the lanes, and then all of a sudden they just repaved the road and they didn't get around to do that, then it would shut off.
It wouldn't allow you to do it.
Yeah.
It would cut out of that
Yeah.
and say go back to driving.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why we call it assistance right now. All right, and then eventually full self-driving will bring you door to door.
Yeah.
Should we get going? You guys have any
Yes.
questions? All right. Let me turn this off.
I don't know
just-
how I feel about the car driving itself. I think I
You
want
can add that feature anytime if you don't want it in the beginning.
it. That's standard with every car?
Yes, it comes.
just the hardware.
Let
Just
him
the
answer. Mark,
hardware,
let him
yeah.
answer the questions.
Yeah, so just the hardware comes standard, and the reason why we do that, just like Mark said, you can choose, you can elect to download it later. Like what a lot of people will do is they won't bother with any of the full self-driving software. They'll wait until it's full blown. They could fall asleep in the back, they could read a book in the back, then they'll call us up, you know, 2 years, 3 years down the line and say, I want it now, and then they get it. Yeah.
So, but that testing that they did out in California didn't turn out so good, right?
What do you mean?
Wasn't there some crash when they tested?
No, I mean, I do know of there was one instance where an individual, like an owner, when we first released the first version of it, was using it,
Was sleeping.
well, he was watching Harry Potter on a laptop where you're sitting right now. So obviously, I mean, it was clear as day that's not how it was intended to be used, and he was using it on the wrong type of road. Like, it didn't have dividers, and a truck crossed in front of him. Here, I'm gonna I'll let this guy go, actually. I normally get honked at here, so. Alright.
Nice. That was 71 miles an hour.
Pretty good, pretty good. Pretty
What was,
soft.
what
right?
was that clicking sound when you took off?
So that was what it sounded like to me, and I just turned on autopilot, by the way. So this is our lane departure warning. Will rumble the steering wheel. That's what it sounded like, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm not too sure. To be totally honest, sometimes our test drive cars do get a little bit beat up. You know, people come in and they want to rip it around. That could partially be it, but I'm not too sure. Maybe it was something on the road. I'm not positive. But, all right. I was really hoping that guy would come in front of us, but
It was slowed down.
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's a great way to highlight how the technology works. It like you remember in science class where you have like magnets and you sort of like
Yeah.
they're
Right.
repelling each other. It's kind of like that's what they program into the car. If you want to switch lanes, you put on the blinker. It waits for it to be safe, and we'll put you over.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a little
pretty cool.
freaky.
We'll do it again. It's gonna wait for this. See, I put on the blinker now, but it sees this guy in our peripherals, and he's just being very slow, so I can speed up. Actually, let me slow down. I'll let them. Basically, you push up on that same stalk or push down to. There it goes. Let's see. There. And then to take it off, you could just tap the brake and let it go. So.
That's pretty cool.
How come I feel like I'm on a plane?
Because it's
It
much
sort of makes that
smoother.
noise, right? Yeah.
I think it's just the feeling of like I'm not in control of this.
It's also the gravity is. Because the battery is lower, the
Weight
center of
differential.
gravity is much different in this car than versus like say your SUV, because you feel the difference.
Weight's all on the bottom.
Yeah.
Until right now. So that's regenerative braking. Basically, people compare it to sort of like downshifting. When you're in a standard car, you would downshift, use the engine to slow down the car. Basically, when you step on the accelerator, the magnets in the motor will spin in a forward motion. As soon as you take your foot off, it reverses the polarity and it reverses, and that sort of winding back will actually generate electricity that we then send back to charge the battery. as you are driving.
So if you were coming down this road here,
Mhm.
and it was on automatic, would it have seen the stop sign and stopped and gone? No, that's
Only on
fully
highway.
automatic,
Highway.
right?
Yeah, so not currently. Yeah, there's no
That-
stop signs.
That would be fully automatic.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically the next
Right.
phase to be released.
Right.
But as it is right now, yeah, it's much. When they initially designed it, the idea was like, let me see if there's a spot over here. So basically, the idea was, highway driving is sort of the like most dangerous, where it's really boring and it's when we're the most likely to be distracted, and we also happen to be traveling like 80 miles an hour while we're doing it. So.
It's parking itself.
And it's parking
Yeah.
itself.
So it found us the spot. It basically showed there was like a little icon. Found the spot. It's gonna get super close. I wouldn't have parked here, but
What do you mean it found you the spot? You
If-
told it look for a spot as we're driving?
No.
if you slow down under 10 miles an hour, it just assumes that you're looking for a spot. And then a little icon with a P will show up on the screen in front of the steering wheel here. Alright, let me do this. Let's. Okay. It's gonna warn me when we get close. Okay, great. So I'm gonna pull in here. What we'll do is, okay, so it's 3:19 right now.
All right, everybody. That was an awesome experience going for the Tesla drive. I really have never experienced any kind of driving like that. I'm sorry, whoever was recording me drive never hit the freaking record button. But I have to tell you, that quick response on that throttle is awesome. I have never gone on a test drive that the salesman says to push the pedal all the way to the floor when you can getting on the highway. I've never had anybody that's a salesman, that's a car salesman, that has ever said that to me before. I've driven Mercedes and some other cars, but I've never really experienced that. But that was the best experience out of the whole experience of going to Tesla. I have to say the service, the knowledge that the people know about the car is outrageous, to be honest with you. I've gone into other retailer stores like, say, Subaru, Volkswagen, even Mercedes. I have to say Mercedes was pretty good with salesmen, but sometimes I know more than they know about the car. But definitely Volkswagen, Subaru. When we walked into those, the people that were selling the cars didn't know much about the cars. Just different experience. But Tesla, I have to say they're on cue with the salespeople, the production line about how they build their cars and the quality that they put it in their cars and trucks. The overall experience, I would have to say, was a really good experience. By the time I was done, I wanted to put a down payment, and we didn't even go for me. So in the future, we'll see if we end up having a Tesla or not in the family. But I would love to do more reviews on the cars and trucks. I would definitely go and take a test drive if I was one of you guys. They were not very pressured to buy. They gave you the knowledge, they gave you the information, and to be honest with you, if money was not a problem right now for me, I would just go and buy one. But overall, the experience was great. I think it's going to be the future. The automatic driving experience that I had, he allowed me to turn that on, and we were on the highway, and the car drove itself. It was really interesting. You just put your blinker on, and the car would just go over to the next lane if you wanted to be out of that lane. You set your speed, and it will adjust. When I was driving, there was a car getting on, and I asked him, "Is it gonna stop?" And he said it's going to, but it's gonna be a sudden kind of stop, to slow down because we were on the highway and we were going like 55 or something like that, or 60. And the guy was getting on and he was being really slow about it. So I ended up just taking the control, just, because I was driving, and I went in the next lane and, put it back on automatic driving and set the cruise speed, and it drove itself. I was pretty impressed with that part. I've never driven one. I've never experienced it, but I have to say it was really good. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, all the detail in the video helps people. There was so much detail. I was actually glad that I recorded it, because I know some of my family members probably did not absorb everything, so they'll be watching this video probably, just to relearn. And when you're there, sometimes you miss things when you're looking at things and stuff like that. But overall, that was a great experience. I definitely would go back there and test drive them. Hopefully one day in my lifetime I'll have one. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, comment below, and I know I'll get all different kind of comments, so whatever. Thanks for watching. See you later.